So I couldn't get my phone to stream. So let's see, how much of a delay is there? Oh, there's a lot of delay. That might be distracting.
I don't have any.
No, I got the YouTube video up. There's probably about a 10-second delay. So
Oh, I see.
I couldn't get my phone to screen mirror up on the TV. So I don't know what the issue was there. So
Okay.
so where are you at?
Up north, cabin.
Ah, no, that's you got internet at the cabin now?
No.
Oh. Well, if anything comes up, text me. So I'll.
Okay.
So
I tried a hotspot, but it's not working. But there's storms going on right now, so I don't know.
Well, have you tried Starlink up there? Because you should be in an area where they're doing it.
No, I haven't tried that.
It's like, and I think it's like $500 for the equipment, and then it's like your standard internet prices, but it's supposed to work pretty well.
Well, I'll look into it.
I can see their mouth moving, but I can't hear anything.
Me too.
And my steps have gone down about 2,000 steps a day since we've been home.
Yeah.
All right.
When it gets
The few.
yeah,
Yeah, I got nothing. And it looks like and the YouTube video just locked up on them.
oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's. I can't tell if they can see us or not because you can't see the TVs from this angle.
Right. They've got no indication that they hear us or see us.
No, I don't know if John has an iPhone or not. Let me. No. Hang on, flip. You may lose my video here for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you get through to them?
I texted them. They did not respond, so we'll see what happens. I sent a text to Tony and to John Florence. Because I believe the state's attorney said that if there's somebody that wants to get in and you've done it this way, then you can't proceed. Otherwise, it's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. So we'll see how see what happens. I see Steve looking around. Okay, you can't hear anything either, right?
No, I can't. I can see them, but I can't hear them.
Yeah, we can. Well, I sent another text that we can see them, we can talk to each other, but we can't hear anything from the meeting at all.
Right.
So
If I was by myself, I'd be wondering if it was on my end.
yeah, no, so, and I can't hear. I have the TV muted, but I don't think there's any sound coming out of the TV either. Steve just said, "What's happening? We can see and hear you." But I can't hear.
Joe, can you hear us? Joe?
Yes, that's the first thing we've heard.
What was the last thing you heard?
Nothing. We've heard nothing. Ed and I have been talking the whole time, so
We
we.
know.
No,
we can hear you, Joe.
Good thing I didn't drop the F-bomb because we've been watching a lot of Ted Lasso, so that's been flying around a lot of our house.
You've been live for about 7 minutes.
We should tell them.
Yeah, I know. Well, I can see it on YouTube. We were getting no sound on YouTube though either.
Well,
I guess we hadn't paid the bills.
Okay.
we're so picky about it.
We have to wait till the 10th item on the agenda. Oh, couple minutes here.
Now I can't hear Ed. Ed, can you hear?
Can you hear us?
Ed's been
No.
sent.
I'm here.
Okay.
Once we got
Can
everything,
you hear?
we didn't have anything to say to you guys, so.
me? Yeah.
Okay, let's call this meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Mr. Prainer.
Here.
Mr. Dantley.
Here.
Mr. Hardy.
Here.
Mr. Nimitz.
Here.
Mr. Thorne.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
We have 6 members of trustees present this evening. We have a quorum. We have a meeting. Governor Pritzker once again extended the emergency proclamation declaring the pandemic and allowing the municipal bodies to assemble remotely. So this evening, we've got members attending remotely, and we've got members in the house. Attending remotely is Ed Harney and Joe Nemick. In the house is Anthony Perrino, Steve Diatley, George Hoffman, and Mark Thorne, and myself, along with Chief Parma and Director of Finance Eugene Van, and the village clerk Tony Mintz. And Barb Detmer is from ICCI is joining us this evening. Okay, we've already gone through the governor's approval or proclamation authorizing the OMA to go ahead with the remote minutes. We have a motion to approve the minutes of September 7th, 2021.
So moved, Diatley.
Second. Moved by Diatley, seconded by.
Second, Hardy.
Gotcha. There any additions or corrections to the minutes? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Perino,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman.
Aye. 6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the minutes so passed. Thank you, gentlemen.
President Pickett, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to move the swearing in and hiring of our new officer, Fidel Arias Garcia, up in the agenda.
Second, Moreno.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Moreno to amend the agenda to move the item from 12D A to the present time. All those in favor, roll call, please.
Mr. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Perino.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes. We have amended the agenda.
Okay,
Mr.
at
Diatley?
this time, I'd like to present Mr. Fidel Arias Garcia as a new hire into the Sleepy Hollow Police Department at a rate of $23 an hour.
Second, Moreno.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Moreno to authorize the hiring of part-time police officer to Fidel Arias Garcia. Any further comments, or what's chief, would like to inform the board as to the.
Yeah, Fidel is 27 years old, was previously employed as a full-time officer for the Sycamore Police Department. He comes to us with the training that he brings from Sycamore, and he's going to be a really good fit for our organization.
Okay. Any other questions for our applicant this evening? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Perino,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz. Joe, Mr. Nimitz,
I lost you there again.
how do you vote?
I can't. On what?
Part-time police officer.
Yes, you were breaking up.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, motion so passes. You've got a speaking part.
Oh, boy.
I think I've been yelling all night. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Fidel Arias Garcia.
Having been duly hired to the position of part-time patrol officer
In the village
of Sleepy Hollow,
King County, Illinois, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the ordinance of the Village of Sleepy Hollow, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of patrol officer to the best of my abilities.
excellent. You read that better than I do. Congratulations. Welcome to the village.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome.
Okay. We'll move back to the agenda as scheduled. President's report, gubernatorial disaster proclamation. I've already told you the governor has extended that. The next item on here If you all recall, the Northern Kane County Chamber of Commerce annually has done a community service award recognizing the contributions to the local communities that are members of the chamber. It's Partnersville, East West Dundee, Sleepy Hollow, and Gilbert's. And this year, they called out to us and asked if we had someone that we would like to nominate to receive the annual Community Service Award from the Village of Sleepy Hollow. And it didn't take me, well, I thought about it. And then I decided I might as well. So I called him back and told him it was John Florence. And so this evening, I would appreciate the board ratifying my nomination of John Florence, the AV guy from Sleepy Hollow.
AV guy. AV guy.
I tell you, when you're in school and you're in AV, you just never know where it's going to lead you to. If I could have a motion to authorize my nominating of John Florence, Village of Sleepy Hollow, I'd appreciate it.
So moved.
I enthusiastically so moved to nominate John Florence.
We'll let Mr. Harney have this as, that is a remote motion.
It is a remote motion.
Okay, seconded by Diatley. Any further comments, questions, or discussion on this?
Well deserved. Thank you for your work, John.
He will be acknowledged at a dinner on the 2nd of October, the Holiday Inn over here off of 31 in the Tollway. He will receive a plaque, his name on it. We will have his name placed on the plaque here at Village Hall, and he will also get to experience a ride in a convertible down the Christmas parade on December 5th. Thank you all. I appreciate it. John? Oh, the vote. Vote, roll call, please.
Mr. Harney. Ed, how do you vote?
Yes, yay?
Thank you.
Okay, I think there's a lag here.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Prano.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes and no negative votes. John, you are our nominee. Thank you. Tighten the string a little bit. Okay. All right, that's it for the president's report, clerk's report, no reports in it. Thank you, Tony. Planning and Zoning Commission, no report this evening. Attorney report, there is no report from the attorney. Engineer. Engineer's got a report in here this evening. He opened the bids for the 2021 Street Improvement Program in the afternoon of the 14th of September. We received 4 bids. The lowest bid was $103,512.20. Well, that was the lowest bid. The highest bid was $113,910.50. The lowest bid was received from Schrader Asphalt Companies of Huntley. They're approximately 15% lower than our estimate. The engineers recommend that we award the 2021 MFT Street Improvement Program to Schroeder Asphalt Services in the amount of $103,512.20. And that we authorize the village president and clerk to execute the contract and the documents and all other MFT forms required in the course of the project, subject to IDOT's review. Schroeder is a qualified IDOT company and is capable of doing this work. And the village of Sleepy Hollow has had work done with Schroeder in the past and have been extremely happy with their work. So we have a motion to approve the bid presented by Schroeder.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Hoffman to award the 2021 Street Improvement Program to Schroeder Asphalt Services in the amount of $103, $512. Okay. Get in there all these numbers. Any further comments, questions, or discussion?
When would they start this? And it's for the streets we talked about at the previous meetings?
Right. They will start, we have to award them, then we have to allow a contestant to the bid. Then they will start working, probably be fairly soon. Most of it's, just elaborate patching. It's not really
Right.
repaving of major streets like they're just doing at Sleepy Hollow.
Right. All right.
So they'll have to be done before the asphalt plants close,
Right.
which is typically when the ground temperature drops below 40 degrees. So,
Awesome. Great savings.
asphalt must be cheap. I don't know why gasoline is so expensive. No other comments or questions? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Farino,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Harney. Ed. Harney,
Ms. Fauzi.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Okay, so we've got five in a
Five
row.
affirmative, and Ed is unable to communicate at the moment. So it will pass 5-0.
Aye.
There we go. Unanimous, thank you,
Just under
Ed.
the wire, Ed.
The string. Pull it taut, Ed.
Yeah,
I think there's a real delay here.
All right, so that's it for the engineer's report. Finance, Mr. Bain.
Request the approval of a warrant for an amount of $111,420.22 to pay the bills for the last 2 weeks.
So move Moreno.
Second.
Yeah.
Moved by Moreno, seconded by Diatley to approve the warrants of September 20th, 2021 in the amount of $111,420.22. Any additions, deletions, comments, or questions? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Farino.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, motion so passes. Before I pass it on back to Mr. Van, I will note, if you all paid attention to this last vote, Ed gave us a thumb up, light travels faster than sound.
That's a scientific guy.
Yes, he
isn't it?
is, isn't he? Okay,
Okay, wanted to give you an update. We approved at the last meeting to go with court money to do the automatic payment or the credit card payment. We've got the signs. They're all on board on their side. And I talked to John about getting it up on the website. As soon as it's on the website, we are good to go.
Ooh,
So
Thank you.
that's excellent.
the other item was at the end of the last meeting, Joe had brought up about payment plans, and we do not have a policy regarding payment plans. I did find in the village ordinance about red tagging and shut-offs and things like that. What Wendy does is she does send out a courtesy letter in advance of the red tag to see if she can gain compliance. It's not required, but again, it's another thing that she tries to do to help the situation. The question was on statistics on payment plans. When I started looking this up, Wendy was already gone for the day, so I don't know how many people she has on payment plans. But, having been in the office for the last 3 months and listening to Wendy, I think she does an excellent job of keeping the water bills collected. And it would be my strong suggestion that we just continue to put that in her lap and let her handle it as she's been doing it. And like I said, now that we can collect the water payments with credit cards, hopefully this won't be as big of an issue as it has been in the past. On the one person who had the $500 bill, when I look back on his record, he had 6 red tags since 2016, and plus the late fees and everything like that. So basically, the entire $500 are extra fees that we have tacked on because of his lack of payment. It's the water bills were actually paid. It's just our fees that we were not collecting. Well, we didn't waive them, but we were not collecting them. And that's, what the payment plan is about for that particular thing. So, Joe, did you have anything else? on
No,
that?
the only thing I say, since we're having an employee, I'm trying to think, do something that's basically not in our ordinance, which I think we all agree is the way we want to do things. Do we want to talk to Mark at the next meeting to see if we can add something for a policy or procedure or otherwise, just so that we're legally doing it? Because I don't think there's anything in ordinances now that gives us the ability to set up the payment plan or do it that way. And I think we all agree that that's a good way to proceed.
But there's nothing in the ordinance that prevents us from doing it either. And I think the intent here is to make the items collectible. And so according to what the ordinance basically says is that if they don't pay, then we put a lien against their property, then we sell the property at as far as the lien, and anything we collect after that sale would get applied to the bills. By doing it the way we're doing it now, I think we're having greater compliance and we're receiving more money in the long run. And I think it's a goodwill gesture with the community.
I'm pretty clear you're not understanding what I'm saying. Why don't you give me a call tomorrow and we can talk about when everybody else is listening, because you're not answering my question. So let's do it that way. I'll be around all day.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Eugene. Comments from the public? Mr. Ming, since you were so nice to bring the note up to me, I'll let you.
And I'm first on the list, so. I'm just here for the Service Club. I just wanted to give you guys a rundown of what's going on this year for Halloween. We're still gonna do everything as planned. We're still gonna have chili contest, costume parades. We're still looking for the hayride. We are doing the beer trailer, but we're gonna do it different. We're gonna do it like we did in previous years. We're gonna sell, buy them in cans and then of course pour them and then hand them to them. So we're gonna do it that way this year. So be a little bit easier to control. We're still looking for a headless horseman because the horseman that we had, the horse got really sick and they have to wait till next year before they can start riding again. So we're in the process of trying to find a replacement for this year. So, and then last but not least, we are going to do fireworks this year. It's going to be a smaller show. We're going to keep it lower. This way people can be closer because the bigger the shells it is, the farther they have to be away. Smaller they are, the closer they can be. We're going to go for 3-inch shells and smaller. Normally they're 3, 4, and 5s, which puts you over 400 feet away. This is going to get us down to about 100, 150 feet away. And it'll be more for the community instead of all the people. As far as I still know, we're not going to be charging for it this year. That's kind of just, we'll put a donation jar asking people if they want to donate some fireworks, but it's a way for the Service Club to give back to the community and give them a nice little fireworks show this year. So that's all I got to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds
All right, next, Anna Delegro.
So close, yeah. Ann Delergio, and I'm here listening with my Sharon and Hillcrest neighbors. We've been experiencing a lot of reckless behavior and a lot of crazy fast driving and some pretty obtuse responses from the people who are conducting themselves this way. I had a pretty scary moment in front of Bill's house 2 Monday nights ago. I had stopped in the street, put my hazards on. Some of those beautiful sandhill cranes were crossing in front. And I had my window rolled down because I saw a car, a little gray SUV coming down Hillcrest really quick from the Locust direction, so going west on Hillcrest. And I was waving my arm out the window for them to slow down, yelling out the window for them to slow down, and the car came up behind me. Barely came around side my car. I had to pull my arm in so fast when they came up. And thankfully, they didn't hit me in the sand hills, but they were definitely not going 25 miles an hour or anything even remotely close to it, and definitely wanted me to know that they weren't very happy I was stopping there. And I see this at 6:30, 6:45 in the morning when I'm letting my dogs out for first thing. They flipped off by some guy who lives on Sharon when he goes chirping around the corner and down the street pretty fast in the morning. And I know other neighbors have been, pushed off the road by him, pushed into a ditch. Still on a reckless behavior, and I wanted to know what the village's position was about it and what we could do, because it's not getting better, and it's definitely not just up and down the Preston Shore, but that's where we live.
Okay, sorry to hear you're having issues, but those issues aren't ours to resolve at this board meeting. The chief is here, he's heard your issues.
Yep.
I'm sure he'll be in touch with you. And work with it through that venue.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Nita?
Nita Mitter. Mine was basically the same thing. I've lived on Hillcrest for 51 years and have never experienced such speeding as we're seeing now. It seems like they're cutting through morning and evening, using us as a cut through. They're coming off of 72 and cutting through, and I'm sure going out to 31. So they're avoiding 72 and 31 stoplights, the other stoplights. But we're seeing such an increase now, and you see the same cars morning and night doing the same thing over. We did, as neighbors, we put up signs and says, drive as if your children lived here. And but that hasn't seemed to help at all. It's just, they've just ignored us completely. And the one day I was out working in my garden, and there were several ducks crossing. Well, this car comes, just barrels right through them. One of the ducks was killed, but didn't slow up at all. They didn't care, just went on through. And another time I was out talking to a neighbor down by my mailbox, and he was standing there with his dog, and I was kind of right behind him. And I saw this car coming so fast, and I said to him, I said, step back. And as I stepped back, I ended up in my ditch. And but it's definitely become a problem. They just use it as a thoroughfare, and I think it's because it's become a cut through.
Well, it's also summer construction season. Sleepy Hollow Road was shut down for the
Yeah,
last
see, I didn't
week.
realize that.
McLean Boulevard was
Yeah, I
closed
found that
from
out
big
today,
timber.
right.
Yeah, it's been very hectic for a lot of people getting around. But, yeah, I said, once again, the chief is here, he's heard your concerns. We'll take it from that point on.
Thank you.
Excuse me, but the speeds are 50 and 60 miles an hour.
They've got radar, sir, they'll check them.
I know that, and they have been out more. The problem is they see them right away, and they're hitting the brake. I like, one thing I just came up with tonight, thinking, if there was a four-way stop at Rainbow and Hillcrest, everybody's got to stop.
We can take a look into that, but the
Okay.
state does have warrants that we must meet before we can just willy-nilly put stop signs up.
Understand?
And we have to check out, see whether it would be viable.
And one other thing I saw today, or
Are you Bill?
pardon?
Are you Bill?
Yes,
Okay.
I apologize, but on the way up the Rainbow Drive, we got a nice sign, 25 miles an hour with branches all over it. You can't even see the sign. Yeah,
Mr. Harney just heard that. He'll take that up with the road people.
yeah, just, I mean, I've cut, one other time I cut the darn thing, but it's already gone back to this. But hide your sign. And I'm built.
And you're Bill, so now I don't have to call him.
No.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, but you got your job cut out for you now.
We have just a little background.
Sure.
We've issued, we've made almost 20 stops out on all three of those roads in the last 2 weeks, and issued 17 tickets in the last 2 weeks. So we're gonna be out there, we're gonna continue being out there gently or not so gently reminding people.
Part of
I'm tired of waving at them.
Yeah.
And getting different languages back.
them waving back with one finger.
They don't use all their fingers.
Yes, yeah.
More efficient.
Read the center one.
That's right.
Between the lines.
Excuse me, but my name is Pat, and I live on Sheriff Drive. Just here to support them. It is really getting bad, even down in the cul-de-sac area where I live. The young children, my grandchildren, zip way off, and then we've got children in the neighborhood, has children all across the way. They're toddlers, they're 1, 2. I mean, there's 1, 4, 5, I think. But they're running all over the place, and then parents will take care of them, but you see a car come down, and it's usually a car that thinks you can get through somewhere. It's, it's not a recent car that you know of, or anything. But they just run right through that circle and right back. Boy, I tell you, it scares me. Yeah, it's a tough deal, and it's just it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And over the years, like these folks are saying, Hillcrest, it's been crazy. I mean, I'm a walker. I walk a lot. It's crazy. People don't. I mean, you got to be making some revenue off of people not stopping at stop signs. My God, I can't believe the rolling through the stop signs I see in my. I can't believe it. I mean, I was taught to stop. I see it every day.
I understand what you're saying. I'm Steve Diallo. I work with the chief in police and public safety. And I live on Jamestown on the other side, and we have the same thing with Joy. So, Chief and I have had a few conversations about that as well. So definitely appreciate you bringing this, we know there's definitely problem spots where that happens more than in some, maybe what I call internal streets in the village where people don't even know where they are. So we're aware of it, and Chief and I have had a couple of discussions on it, so we appreciate you coming and bringing it to us.
And it's an issue. It really is.
It is.
It's a terrible issue. Deals with it. Hope you guys can do something about it.
Keep working at it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Back to the agenda, trustees reports, roads and parks, Ed. We've lost you, Ed. We can't hear you. You're muted, Ed.
He's got good false teeth.
Whoa.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, something goofy going on here. On page 38 of your trustee packet, Public Works has submitted a purchase order payable to Sandman's Paving and Seal Coating for $10,100. Specifically, pages 39 to 43 spell exactly what it is. Because of the amount, it requires board approval.
Okay, so we have a motion to pay the Sandman invoice of $110,000 or $10,100.
No, I believe it's to accept the bid from Sandman to do these repairs without going out to get 3 additional bids because of the amount.
These are just basic repairs, small like pothole repairs.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve the estimate from Sandman in the amount of $10,100.
Second.
Oh, okay. Ed made the motion. Mark seconded it. Any further comments or questions? Discussion?
No, I will just point out now, because it seems like a good time. I talked to Kyle about the repairs on 1913 and 1911 Maria Court. I believe if I'm correct, that sewer system was installed on Maria before the homes were built. And the driveways were then installed over the B box. Kyle would like at the next meeting to maybe have Mark write up a policy for that, because we're going to do the repairs this time, but we've had other instances where Mark has advised us that it's an easement of sorts, and if somebody gets in the way, we do not necessarily have to repair it. And Kyle would just like something in writing from the attorney saying what our policy on that, unless anybody objects to that. We'll cover that at the next meeting. Does that seem like a legitimate issue?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, but we've got other people that have B boxes under driveways. We've got them in Saddle Club.
Well, and the same thing would apply there, as the B boxes, I believe, were installed before the houses were installed. So that would, Kyle would just like some direction from the village attorney, because we have the person who built the deck over the sewer tank, and we have other issues like that. So he would just like some guidance on that officially from the village policy for what we are and aren't going to repair and what our policy is. So I will talk to Mark and have that at the next meeting. Then if that's
We'll take a look at that.
okay, I'll take care of it then. Thank you.
Okay, no other comments or questions in regards to the estimate from Sandman? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
You said I.
He thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Mr. Mr. Chapman.
One of those fancy meetings.
Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Make sure that was his thumb. That's what I'm saying.
Thumbs up, pardon.
All right, they had 6 thumbs up, no thumbs down, motion so passes. Okay, anything else, Ed? That's all? Okay,
That's all.
that's all. Next, finance, George?
Nothing to report, but I got a surface question again I brought up when I first came on board, having been in this position now for several months. And I'm going over the finances and signing off, a couple times a month on the billing and look at the balance sheets and the ledgers and all that. Costs are going up significantly. Read any of the finance news today. I mean, inflation already is 5% for the year, and it's even increasing. And they were talking today, some of the business things I get, and talked about how they think the costs are just going to run away. I mean, over the next, 9 months or so till we finally get a handle on this. And with that, as you keep looking at the P&L, or I call it the P&L, keep looking at the balance sheets. I mean, it's going to be pretty tight. And I know they surfaced an initiative the last election, to raise, some of the taxes. And I think that we need to start putting an effort together, to start educating the village, about, we don't have a lot of revenue coming in from businesses like East Dundee and West Dundee and Carpentersville and the others, we're landlocked. So I think we've got to start making some kind of concerted effort so we can keep the books balanced versus where I think we might be headed in another year or 2 years or whatever. I mean, so far this village has done a phenomenal job, managing their budgets and keeping us above water. But I think it's something we've talked about it before, and I don't know if that's going to take a group of us to sit down and start talking about that and how we're going to approach that or how we want to do it. But I don't want to keep putting it off every meeting or every month and saying, okay, we'll get to it, we'll get to it. And the next thing you know, we'll be in 2022 or 2023 and nothing will be done. So feedback?
Isn't that part of the finance committee's recommendation? You guys get together?
Well, we haven't gotten together yet. I mean, that's the thing. I'd like to get together and I'd like to put something substantial in place where we can start, at least formatting something.
Sure, I
And
think
then
the
get
finance
some-
committee comes up with something and brings it to the board, at some point for discussion and a vote, that would be ideal.
So if I'm correct, if the last 2 that we surfaced in elections, there was one last time, I believe, and there was one a year or 2 ago. Both failed, didn't they?
No, the last one failed. We've had one for 5 years.
5 years?
Okay. 5 years before. So it's an ongoing thing. It has been. George is right. We need to, be prepared for it. We've got the audit coming at us in about a month. That'll give us a good point where we stand, going forward. And after that audit, we've got the December, we've got the what's it called? PTAP, property tax. That will be brought up. We'll have to do that in the 1st of December. So we're 2 months from that, and then we go into budget time.
Okay.
So in about 10 weeks, we're going to be looking into the budget, and it's probably a good time to drill down on this.
Okay.
And that way, we know where we've been. We've got a good solid foundation to work with going forward. I mean, we know where we've been right now, but I'm saying bring everything together. This past year has been really rocky with the pandemic and whatnot. Yeah, you need to get a handle on that real quick.
Okay.
I know that one other comment, I know the monies that we received from one of the pandemic, one of the COVID relief packages a couple meetings ago, and I know that can only be applied to certain infrastructure things. Obviously, that will help in covering some of those expenses, which ideally would give us some additional funds in our own.
Well, the problem though is the funds are restricted to water and sewer.
Okay, that's right.
So if we save money in water and sewer, we gotta spend money in water and sewer.
Right. Okay.
I can't take money from sewer and spend it in administration. I can't take money from water and spend it in public works. Yeah, I'd say
Right.
streets and roads.
Right.
So,
Well, it stays within itself.
so, I mean, it will help us in those respects, but as George is pointing out, if you look at the bottom line of revenues, it's limited.
Right.
And that's where we need to work on those. So. Anything else, George?
Nope.
Okay, thanks, sir. Water and sewer, Joe?
No report.
Thank you, Joe. Police and public safety, Steve?
A couple things in your packet, if you've had a chance to look at them yet. The first one I want to cover is the Knights of Columbus are holding their Intellectual Disabilities Fund Drive from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on September 24th and on the 25th from 8 to 3. They have offered a certificate of liability to Sleepy Hollow to as an additional insured prior to those dates. I'd ask for the board's permission to support this initiative. So I'd like to make a motion that we support the initiative for the Knights of Columbus to do their fund drive on September 24th and 25th.
Second, Harney.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Harney to allow the Knights of Columbus to hold their intellectual disabilities fundraising event at the intersection of Road Rumble and Sleepy Hollow Road on the 24th and the 25th. Comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call, please. Mr. Prano.
Aye.
Mr. Diatley.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Oh, Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes.
Thank you.
That's it.
One other thing, some equipment issues, as we all know, as we say, budget things and things have been passed over from years to years. We do have an issue right now with our intoximeter, our breathalyzer machine. Is not working, a very important piece of equipment because it allows us to get results right away instead of having to use outside people. The chief has looked into replacing this and getting it fixed. Basically, what we're asking for here is I would like to make a motion that we allow the chief to make the decision on if it's under $1,500 to get the piece of equipment fixed. If not, we have money in the budget, in the DUI budget that we can take out of to possibly purchase a new one at $8,500. This would not impinge the budget that is now in place because we have money in that fund. A lot of information I threw out there. So,
Chief, the one that we have now, to send it out, does it cost us anything to have it evaluated? Is there any cost to that, or no, they'll do that for free?
We would pay shipping, and that would be about it.
Okay.
From what they're telling me, it's coming back, the error code that's coming back is the infrared unit, which is basically the main part of the breathalyzer itself. We just had a printer fixed as well, and that, there's a Band-Aid on that. So if we replace both, it's gonna be probably around $1,500. It's 8.5 years old, so.
Yeah. Are these portable, or do they bring them here to do it? In the new station to do it?
This is the evidentiary unit, so it's stationary.
Oh,
If
okay.
you move it, you gotta have it recalibrated and recertified, so we don't. So we bring people here, they do the breath analysis, and then we charge based on that.
So you're wanting to send this one in to be reviewed?
I can send it in regardless, and we'll look at it. What they're telling me is it's most likely gonna be the amount that I put in the memo, the $1,200 to $1,500 range to fix it. They're recommending that we not fix it. It's considered end of life already.
Oh,
How old is it?
8.5 years old. So, you know, it's kind of, we're kind of in the same situation we were with the last. So, and again, we've got money, we've got 25,000 plus in our DUI fund, which is exactly what that fund is for, is replacing that type of equipment.
so would you send this in and then we pay the freight, and then if they say it's gonna be,
My suggestion would be not to pay the freight and replace it. That would be my suggestion. Which is what the state police officer who does certification is recommending as well.
we have a
The
motion to
amortization
authorize the
schedule's already
purchase of a
going
new breathalyzer.
Yeah, I would support this.
Second, Moreno.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Moreno to authorize the purchase of a new intoximeter breathalyzer not to exceed $8,500, with the funds coming from DUI. Okay, any further comments, questions? There being none, roll call, please. Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Mr. Diatley.
aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman.
Aye.
We got 6 affirmative votes, no negative votes. I guess we're gonna have a new breathalyzer.
One last thing here, I see the chief has provided us with the, we talked about several meetings ago, was some small claims court system, and how to collect more of our monies through the small claims courts and go after our fines if people are paying that way. And chief, you're just looking for guidance on the next step.
Yeah, for fines is one part of it, and the other part is when we have employees leave and they don't
Right.
adhere to the 18-month commitment they make to the department, they're supposed to reimburse us. We've got some invoices that are still out there and really no way of collecting it. To me, as I said before, I think it's an honor and integrity issue. You know, if you make a commitment to the village, you made a commitment to you, if you don't honor that commitment, there should be a payback for that. That's the way I feel.
Yep. I would say definitely proceed.
So I guess my next question would be, then do I just contact Schuster and go from there, or go through Tony?
Go through Tony at this point. We'll send them a letter saying that if they don't respond, it will be given to the attorney.
Okay, perfect.
One last shot at them.
Thank you, that's all.
So Tony, you should draft up something. I'll give it my best shot. Okay.
Thank you, that's all.
All right, thank you, Steve. Public buildings and environment, Mr. Thorne.
No report.
Thank you, sir. Building and zoning. Anthony?
I'm gonna defer to Ms. Detmer for septic well construction plans and an update.
Thank you, sir. Over the past couple of years, I've been running into some challenges during issuance of building permits with regard to the enforcement of our approximately 1972 private septic ordinance, which has much higher distance requirements from components of the septic system than Kane County currently has. When that ordinance was written, the village was responsible for issuing permits for any septic system that went in. That's been taken away from villages by the state and given specifically to the county. So last week, for instance, I had an issue with paver patio going in where they were actually going over the distribution boxes, which I had to get stopped. We currently have a gentleman who wishes to put on a nice deck extension with a gazebo, and he can't do it because he's too close to his distribution lines, leach field, however you want to call it. I'm old school, leach field, my brain, okay? So anyway, I figure it's probably going to take me 10 to 15 hours of my time to meet with the county, because what I would like to do is incorporate the county standards, not only for septic protection, but I also had an issue with the wellhead not being protected this year. We have nothing to protect. And while it's the county that is responsible for the installation and overseeing any maintenance done to it, it's the village's responsibility to protect it. And because if something gets damaged during the course of construction, it technically would come back on the village. So in an effort to protect the village, I'm looking at redoing the ordinance, and I just want your folks' blessing to proceed with that, because what I'll do is I'll set up a meeting with the county, get their standards both for well and septic protection, all the parts that tell exactly about how to get the percolation rate and all of that kind of thing will be gone from that ordinance. And it'll just be what we need to, as a village, protect homeowners, their septic and their well systems. So that's the purpose of why I wish to be here tonight, just to let you know that. And by the way, this will be done non-biased to the village. I might ask for a receipt information.
Yes, the only thing I would ask is that you at least run it, when we get it done, run it by Mr. Schuster.
Oh, definitely. I can't give his time away, but I can give my time away.
I know, but I want him to be aware,
Oh, no,
because he has to go to court and defend it, that's all. I
Of
just don't
course,
I
no.
don't want him to be caught off.
No.
I appreciate your offer, because that was my next question. I was sitting here doing my math.
Yeah.
You stopped me with your comments.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and while this is not on the agenda, in researching that one, I also found that our cross connection ordinance is also bit out of date. And over the winter, I'd also like to take it, getting that one updated again on grass. So, but again, if I can get a receipt. So if that's acceptable to everybody.
Thank you for.
I had heads nodding up and down, so the consensus is proceed.
Yes.
Stedman.
I know it's not on the agenda, but just as a heads up, tomorrow I'll be issuing a large permit on Bonkowski cell tower, and I've also already been contacted for another upgrade on Randall Road Tower. So we theoretically.
One of these days, we'll get cell phone reception.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, so those are coming down, and I've also been contacted, the information that Mr. President Pickett provided with regard to Willow. They're going to wish to pursue that, and they have the development application and are meeting to establish the escrow. Because we will not go forward with anything until that escrow is established. So that money's maybe coming in. And we should be issuing a single family permit, hopefully next month, over on Stevens. I think that's all the money I can bring in for now.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sure.
appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, anything else, Anthony?
That's it, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Old business, any old business come before the board? Being no old business, we'll move to new business. Burn pile opening and closing. I believe it's open. It's open. So I guess our decision is, when do we want to close it? The bonfire will be set for October 30th. You guys want us to go to October 29th?
Yes.
Close the business Friday, October 29th.
Sounds good. Gives us a little time to get situated.
So Anybody got any objections to that? Just go ahead and let the burn pile stay open until 10:29. Close the business. Kyle leaves, he can push it up for one last time, and we'll go on. Okay, any other new business come before the board? Well, before we move to the next item, I do have one item of new business, which actually kind of could have fallen under old business, but I've made a couple appointments this past spring. One of them has just seen 90 days with us. The other one has seen 120 days with us. And I would like to report that I'm extremely happy and pleased with the performance of both my appointments to the finance department and to the police department. They have both jumped in with both feet. They have continued their job training. Chief Parma was just in Springfield a couple weeks ago with a training course. And Director of Finance Eugene was at the Illinois Government Office.
Financial Officer Association.
There you go. The Illinois Government Financial Officers Association, continuing their education on our behalf. And I said, with the 90 and 120 days, I am extremely pleased, happy, and grateful that I've got these two gentlemen as part of our organization going forward. So I'll let you all know that, that's my opinion. If you've got any other opinions, keep them to yourself. Okay, any other new business come before the board?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Fredo.
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Hi.
Okay, 6 affirmative votes, no negative votes. We are adjourned. We will see you on October 4th. We got Easter daylight.
Do we really?
Yeah.